Introducing a completely redesigned experience that you can sense. And that senses you. The new Dell Latitude laptops bring your work closer to you.
A Perth storm striker, a massive dump of rain. Tonight we are live with the latest. WA doctors slam as impossible a domestic violence plan spruiked by the Premier. Why a high-profile Perth surgeon has been slapped with suspension. Exclusive, Perth teens busted as part of a national drug syndicate crackdown. And in the sky and on the shore, high emotion as Europe marks 80 years since D-Day.
This is 9 News Perth with Michael Thompson.
Good evening. A fierce storm front has just swept Perth, targeting our southern suburbs, but tonight the threat is not over. Amber Wilkinson is in Fremantle. And Amber, what's it like there?
Michael, it's been a wet and gusty few hours, but that wind and rain is easing tonight. The Weather Bureau warning of a severe storm with the threat of thunder and flash flooding. Now, it started coming down just before 4 this afternoon. We saw a gust of 94 kilometres an hour in Garden Island, and in our southwest we saw a rain dump of around 50 millimetres in Paindale in just an hour. We also saw around 40 millimetres recorded in Boyanup North as well in only an hour. Now, while the immediate threat of severe thunder has passed, we are being told to expect heavy rain tonight. The Weather Bureau will continue to monitor the situation with fire and emergency, advising everyone to stay indoors tonight, Michael.
Been a wild night so far. Amber, thank you. Let's bring in Emma Griffiths now. And Emma, where did this wild weather come from?
Well, Tomo, this cold front developed west over the southern Indian Ocean before travelling east over the last couple of days, making landfall late this afternoon. But this front will move east after tonight, and then a number of other cold fronts will move through over the coming days with nothing but showers in the forecast. We started today, though, with a low of 11.5 degrees before climbing to a warmer top than expected of 25 at around 1:30 this afternoon. Now, these showers aren't going anywhere anytime soon. I'll have all the details a little later, Tomo.
Emma, thank you. As the Premier scrambles to deal with WA's domestic violence crisis, doctors are slamming a government plan they call impossible. The AMA says it's unreasonable. They'd be expected to report angry patients who could be killers.
Doctors are key to responding to the most violent crimes. Tonight, they want to ensure they're not to blame for an ex-patient's actions.
To expect doctors to be able to predict which patients might be violent offenders is really impossible, and it's an unreasonable expectation.
WA's AMA president responding to Roger Cook's call that every potentially dangerous patient be reported to police.
It's a question of whether they present in an emotional or cognitive state which suggests that they may be a danger to themselves or a danger to someone else.
If we were reporting every patient with an emotional or cognitive disturbance in the hospital to the police, we wouldn't be able to do anything else.
It follows revelations a hospital worker made to 9 News. Mark Bombara, who shot dead Jennifer and Gretel Patelchek, had a cyst on his brain.
This man, from looking at his current health condition, had a very compromised and vulnerable brain.
The Premier wants all public agencies talking to each other as a normal matter of course. But the AMA says it's only in exceptional circumstances they'll tell police if they're worried about someone. Both agree change is needed to stop men harming women.
I'm sorry to the women suffering through this abuse who aren't receiving the help that they need.
Connor McGovern, 9 News.
A Perth Hills grandmother remains in hospital tonight after she was allegedly attacked by her partner with a machete. Michael Genovese, what's the latest on the 60-year-old's condition?
Michael, Paulette Mountford is still in a critical condition. Her daughter's by her side in Royal Perth Hospital's intensive care unit tonight. The Gooseberry Hill grandmother discovered by neighbours in her garden on Tuesday night. Stab wounds to her neck and torso. Her 72-year-old partner, Christopher John Sullivan, charged with attempted murder, due back before court at the end of the month as Paulette Mountford faces a long road to recovery. Michael,
thank you for the update. A Perth surgeon's registration is cancelled tonight after testing positive to meth, MDMA and cocaine. A cosmetic specialist, Dr Ilan Josephs, also had a sexual relationship with a patient, prescribing her diazepam.
He's the Perth body sculpting doctor now struck off for professional misconduct.
This is just how all of our patients enjoy their time with us. At the first place, it's cosmetic medicine.
Dr Ilan Josephs was running a cosmetic medicine practice in Alfred Cove. The medical board brought action against him after he twice wrote scripts for a woman he was having a sexual relationship with, prescribing her diazepam in 2021. In one text exchange, the woman told Dr Josephs to book a suite, bring the prescription pad and your checkbook. We'll provide a night you'll be sure was a fantasy. In another text conversation arranging a sculpting session, the doctor asked, "So what are you going to wear for me?" "Name it," the woman replied. "Just stilettos, a long coat and underneath some see-through lingerie," he requested. "You got it," she responded. A state administrative tribunal finding also revealed Dr Josephs was using cocaine every 2 weeks, prescribed himself medication and was practising while suffering a health condition that could have affected his judgment and patient care. The 52-year-old, who cooperated with the investigation and demonstrated remorse, has been disqualified for applying for registration for 6 months and was ordered to pay $6,000 in costs. Jamie Freestone, 9 News.
A national criminal syndicate responsible for drug and money laundering is being further dismantled by WA Police. We can exclusively reveal tonight 2 19-year-old men are charged after almost $1 million in cash and cocaine was seized.
A drugs and cash haul allegedly being distributed by a national criminal syndicate, now in the hands of police. Almost $1 million and 5 kilograms of cocaine seized in our eastern suburbs. Police say 2 19-year-old men arrived at a park on Vaucluse Circuit in Belmont around 6:45 Tuesday night, allegedly leaving 3 shopping bags. The pair drove off before a 31-year-old man attended and collected the bags. Inside, $620,000 in cash and 5 kilograms of cocaine. The next day, detectives raided 2 homes on Gardner Street, Belmont and Surrey Road, Kewdale, arresting the 2 teenagers and seizing a further $60,000 and more cocaine hidden in their bedrooms. $255,000 also found in the 31-year-old's accommodation. 9 News understands one of the newly charged 19-year-olds was acting as a runner for the alleged head of a national syndicate, distributing and taking cash for the 39-year-old who is now behind bars. The head of the syndicate, who goes by Fat Boy, was arrested last month.
I was going to place you under arrest. What
Detectives seizing more than $1 million in cash during that operation. 15 people are now charged, but this network is still under the close eye of WA Police. Michael Stamp, 9 News.
Another former High Court detainee is accused of breaching his curfew. It's alleged Mohammed Hossein Nosrati left the Canning Bridge Auto Lodge after 10 p.m. on Monday, something he's not allowed to do. A court today heard the Iranian man's protection visa was originally granted due to his sexuality and fears of persecution. In opposing bail, the Commonwealth prosecutor said the 29-year-old had a significant criminal history in Victoria and was on bail accused of drug trafficking in WA. Accused Victorian killer Greg Lynn has sensationally given evidence at his double murder trial. The former Jetstar pilot told families of Russell Hill and Carol Clay he's sorry for their suffering, maintaining their deaths a tragic accident.
Partners, sons and grieving daughters among those converging on the Supreme Court for what would be standing room only in one of the most significant days of the trial to date. All eyes were on the witness box as Greg Lynn chose to be one of the very few accused killers to be questioned at his own murder trial. You understand that not coming forward, causing immeasurable pain to their family and loved ones, that people will regard your acts as despicable. It was despicable. All I can say to the families is that I'm very sorry for their suffering. An apology almost 3 years after the remains of Russell Hill and Carol Clay were found in Victoria's high country. The 57-year-old telling the court he panicked, torching their campsite and their bodies before painting his car and removing its awning in an attempt to cover his tracks. Do you deserve to be punished for that conduct? Yes, I deserve to be punished. In this trial, have you offered to plead guilty to the destruction of evidence? Yes, I have. have. But despite standing trial on 2 counts of murder, Lynn claims he had no reason to kill either of them, maintaining it was all a tragic accident sparked by a dispute over Mr Hill's drone. As a result of that dispute, you murdered Mr Hill. That's not true. You took aim at Miss Clay and you shot at her multiple times. That's not true. As he stood in the witness box facing a possible lifetime behind bars, this was Greg Lynn's one and only chance at convincing the jury that he is not a killer. Now his fate is in the hands of 14 jurors who could hand down their verdict as early as next week. Amber Johnston, 9 News.
A slight glimmer of hope tonight for Perth renters, the toughest market in years, showing small signs of improvement. New data reveals a slight increase in vacancy rates, but housing experts say it's not enough to make a major difference.
This is Tina Ullman's new daily routine, battling Perth's rental market after her landlord decided not to renew the lease on her Ascot home. Tina and her sister left wondering where they and their 4 children can go.
Now we've got to look for a home. And it's so hard out there to try and find something.
New PropTrack data showing the rental market is improving slightly. Perth's vacancy rate rising 0.1% in May, now sitting at 1.16%. That's still the 4th lowest vacancy rate in the country, sitting just behind Adelaide and Brisbane. The average rental home costing $650 a week.
We do not have enough rental properties in the market. We're not even close. A balanced market has a vacancy rate of about 3 to 4%.
On top of this, the bidding on top of it. So then you've got to compete against that. And it's very hard to compete against that when you're a single mum.
The market for buyers isn't looking much better. Property prices in Perth jumped 2% in May. The median house value more than $760,000. While there's no surefire solution to secure a rental, there are things experts say can help improve your chances.
It is simply a game of numbers. The more property managers you can speak to, the more friends and family you can talk to get yourself ahead of a queue that is usually 40 or 50 people long is the solution.
It's very draining and very stressful. It's very emotional. I might keep it on the outside, but on the inside, I just feel like screaming.
Amber Wilkinson, 9 News.
There's a growing push tonight to give Australian workers an extra week each year of paid annual leave. Teenage workers could also be paid more as trade unions fight to abolish junior rates.
Before dawn in Adelaide, the Prime Minister paying for coffee.
Better get the right one. Pretty good here.
He was served by 24-year-old Katie. Tonight, though, unions want any younger colleagues to be the ones paid more.
Those young workers, they pay full rate on groceries, full rate on rents.
Junior rates apply to 75 awards in low-paid industries such as hospitality, retail and fast food, usually for those under 20.
As an 18-year-old, I'm earning $10 less than a 21-year-old, roughly.
This is quite a natural thing that junior workers would be paid less than seasoned workers. And that's reflected in the current settings.
Tonight, the change is just a proposal and would need to be negotiated into awards or approved by the Fair Work Commission.
I support the Fair Work Commission and Fair Work Commission having proper processes.
And in the City of Churches, a union prayer for another week of leave for Australian workers.
We would again urge that common sense be applied here.
These proposals come at a time of weakness in the economy and productivity, but they also come at a time of increased union influence here in the corridors of power. The Prime Minister and Workplace Minister Tony Burke honoured and on hand as unions gathered last night.
Our trade union movement will not forget what this Labor government has done.
Charles Croucher, 9 News.
The Greens leader is threatening to sue the Federal Attorney General over comments about the party's involvement with pro-Palestinian protests. Labor and the Coalition accusing the Greens of stoking division for political gain.
Balaclava-clad pro-Palestinian protesters have been systematically targeting government MPs' offices, promoting their vandalism on social media and their spraying of the red inverted triangle, a symbol of Hamas. A covert campaign claiming Labor's complicit in genocide, which echoes the Greens' claim.
Labor's ongoing complicity and support for the invasion, that is complicity in genocide.
Protests outside Minister Julie Collins' office suggesting Greens' involvement. The Greens leader himself calling for a blockading of government.
The Greens have been nothing other than causing division.
Unfortunately, the Greens have been sprung doing that.
The Attorney-General going further, accusing the Greens and its leader of encouraging criminal behaviour.
My lawyers have written to the Attorney-General regarding what I consider to be defamatory statements.
But attacks like this one on Labor MP Jed Carney's Melbourne office on Tuesday night has all MPs on edge.
They seek in a divisive way to raise these issues in order to then weaponise them.
We are a party of peace and non-violence.
There have been 725 reports of threats being made against Australian MPs, up 160%. So every politician has an interest in avoiding incendiary comments. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
Commemorations have just wrapped up in France to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Europe correspondent Jessica Millwood is live in Normandy, where it's been a solemn and emotional day.
Hi, Michael. It certainly has. We've seen some really moving services. Some are wrapped up and some are still underway, being attended by the royal family, the French president and the US President Joe Biden. They are just some of a long list of dignitaries and world leaders taking part in D-Day commemorations here in France. So naturally, security is very tight, both here in France and in the UK, where commemorations have also taken place in the lead up to the anniversary of the invasion that would change the course of history. A Normandy beach landing at 7:26 a.m. The exact moment 160,000 Allied soldiers stormed French shores 80 years ago. The service, one of several held at sunrise in France. D-Day Eve commemorations started across the English Channel at Portsmouth, where troops set out from. The spectacular event had song, dance and stories of the bold mission to liberate Europe in the largest amphibious invasion in military history.
I always considered myself one of the lucky ones that survived because so many of us didn't.
The King leading a long list of dignitaries to pay tribute to the bravery.
For we are all eternally in their debt.
Eric Bateman was there on that day in 1944. He spoke alongside his 2 great-grandchildren, the King and Queen, among many, moved to tears.
So many men and women, including my dear friend Fred, who joined up with me, but unfortunately never made it. I'm proud to be here today to honour them and to make sure they will always be remembered.
A breathtaking fly-past to conclude, as more veterans gathered on the French shores where so much blood was shed. The Normandy landings weren't just by sea but air as well. The some 13,000 paratroopers that descended in the dark of night commemorated in a reenactment over French fields. Australia's main contribution to D-Day was in the air. Our aircrew serving in dozens of squadrons considered so crucial in the overall success of the invasion. As the sun set, commemorations took a more sombre tone before 25,000 war graves lit up in memory of the so many fallen. In Normandy, France, Jessica Millward, 9 News.
New limited release Bluey coins break the internet, popping up online. You won't believe what they're selling for. That's next. Dubbo flu rates on the rise, and we've only just started winter. A suspect terrorist arrested in Paris 50 days out from the Olympics. And happy birthday to Lorna at 110. It's believed she's our oldest Australian. Australia's favourite blue healer has become immortalised in coin, the Royal Australian Mint releasing Bluey dollar bucks, the limited edition collection, now causing a stir online as currency traders resell them for hundreds of dollars.
They don't look like your typical Bluey fans, but they certainly know the value of Australia's most famous blue healer.
We love Bluey!
Coin collectors lining up outside the Perth Mint for 2 hours, hoping to fetch a Bluey dollar buck or 3.
Oh, I'm actually more of a dingo guy. I like dingo.
No, I think, were you blue?
I like blue.
Yeah, you like blue, yeah.
Shout out Uncle Rat, though.
The limited edition commemorative collection released by the Royal Australian Mint in a ballot overnight features Bluey herself and the entire Healer family. The three-piece set retailing for $55.
Knowing our grandchildren in America adore Bluey, my husband and I both set about enrolling for the lottery.
For those who lucked out, you can sniff out the sought-after coins online, but it'll cost you. Currency traders reselling them for up to $400. Some labelling it a dog act.
Which we found anti-Australian.
The popularity of a beloved Aussie canine family...
$5.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Thanks.
Sending coin collectors barking mad.
You left me $5.
$5!
Tracy Vo, 9 News.
With winter here, flu cases across the state are on the rise. WA Health recording an 11% increase in the past week with 205 cases reported. About 1 in 6 people have had the flu vaccine so far this year. Vaccines are free for those over the age of 6 months for the rest of this month. At least 45 people are dead after an Israeli airstrike on a United Nations-run school in central Gaza, according to local officials. Israel's military confirmed the strike, saying they were targeting a Hamas compound inside. A suspected Russian-Ukrainian terrorist has been arrested in Paris just weeks before the Olympics. The 26-year-old suffered serious burns after an explosion in his airport hotel room north of the capital. Investigators found guns, false passports and materials for bomb-making in his room. A freight train has collided head-on with a passenger train in the Czech Republic, killing at least 4 people and injuring more than 20. There is no word yet on the cause of the blast. And Anthony Albanese has spoken with Narendra Modi to congratulate him on his election win. The Indian Prime Minister has secured the backing of his political allies, allowing him to form a coalition government. He's expected to be sworn in for an historic third term over the coming weekend. Australia's oldest woman has celebrated a milestone few ever achieved, marking her 110th birthday. Lorna Henstridge sharing her words of wisdom and secrets to a long life.
Cakes, balloons and even a special birthday hat. It's a super celebration for a super centenarian.
Happy birthday to you. I'm very lucky to have this celebration, and it's almost overwhelming.
Lorna Henstridge, a beloved matriarch, marking her 110th birthday, surrounded by her pride and joy. Her 3 children, 7 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren.
A special lady who has a wicked sense of humour, a strong personality but a gentle soul.
Born in Adelaide in 1914, Lorna has lived through 2 world wars, 2 pandemics and has been gifted cards from both King Charles and the late Queen. And up until the age of 105, Lorna lived in her own home. And as for the secret to her longevity, Lorna kept it simple.
I think perhaps I've always been very active, did play sport quite a lot.
With the wisdom of over a century behind her, she shared what is still important even at 110.
I guess the main thing is to be respectful with other people and try and understand them always and learn a lot from everybody.
April Cretan, 9 News.
110, she looks amazing. The future of the bionic eye is here. That's next, our exclusive report on the gift of giving sight to the vision impaired. The United Nations warning we're on a highway to climate hell. The liftoff, years in the making, Boeing blasts into the space race. And Disney on Ice returns to Perth with a practically perfect new guest. An Australian-made bionic eye is restoring a sense of sight to a group of totally blind patients. The technology creates flashes of light to help them avoid obstacles and find items around the home.
When Colleen's bionic eye was first switched on, the 74-year-old, who is totally blind, got a bright surprise.
And it was like, oh, so it was quite exciting to actually see something.
The great-grandmother is among 4 blind Australians to receive a bionic eye in 2018, which has given them enough functional vision to do ordinary tasks like the laundry.
continuing to produce really good outcomes for these patients. So tick, tick, tick.
The Centre for Eye Research Australia and Bionics Institute Technology comprises an electrode array implanted behind the eye and glasses featuring a camera. That camera converts images into electrical pulses. These activate retinal cells and create flashes of light called phosphenes to help patients detect edges, shapes and movement.
So navigating around an obstacle course, identifying a door, locating objects on a table.
By using the device, I can tell that, there's trees or buildings or things like that.
Colleen still requires a cane and a guide dog, but the bionic eye means she can better navigate unfamiliar spaces inside and out.
To allow these people to have greater independence.
The next step in the Bionic Eye project is to embark on a larger clinical trial that aims to recruit more people with blindness worldwide.
The fact that it's so safe and is continuing to actually give really good results is so important.
Certainly enhances the experience of getting out there in your community.
Emily Rice, 9 News.
We are on a highway to climate hell, warns the United Nations, as the planet experiences its hottest year ever. The average global temperature 1.63 degrees higher over the past 12 months, the warmest period on record. Slovakia's Prime Minister has spoken for the first time since an assassination attempt that left him critically injured. Robert Fico says he forgives the stranger who shot him, blaming the attack on his political opponents. An Italian court has reconvicted Amanda Knox for slander. It found she had wrongly accused an innocent bar owner of murdering her British roommate, Meredith Kircher, in 2007. Knox was put behind bars for the murder, but the conviction was quashed in 2015. Outback wrangler Matt Wright has come face-to-face with the widow of his co-star, Chris Wilson, at Sydney's Federal Court. Danielle Wilson is suing Wright and Australia's aviation regulator over the helicopter crash that killed her husband in 2020.
It's not going to bring our mate back, is it?
We'll have more on this story in A Current Affair tonight. Aviation giant Boeing finally has cause to celebrate tonight as its Starliner soars to the stars with 2 NASA astronauts on board. The historic launch after years of budget blowouts and delays.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
At long last,
liftoff.
Boeing gets its page in the history books.
Carrying 2 American heroes, drawing a line to the stars for all of us.
A decade in the making, Starliner, with crew on board, leaves planet Earth. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams enjoyed their final steps on Earth for now. There were prayers and flowers, one last look and a wave, then a message before they were bound for the International Space Station.
Let's put some fire in this rocket. Let's push it to the heavens.
Starliner has been plagued by costly delays. 2 previous attempts were aborted. Today, a cause for celebration and relief.
I see the hard work of the team and just felt, a sense of accomplishment.
There was praise from Elon Musk. Starliner is to rival SpaceX's Crew Dragon in the commercial space race.
What we're doing is expanding our reach to the stars.
Tomorrow, Boeing's capsule will dock with the International Space Station. The crew will test Starliner's ability to act as a shelter. Sonny and Butch also carry a pump to fix a plumbing problem on board the ISS. They're expected to return home in 9 days. Humanity is reaching for the stars. In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
Disney on Ice will bring its brand new tour to Perth tonight, a new special guest set to wow audiences, and she's practically perfect in every way.
It's Disney on Ice, but this performance is about to heat up. The show back in Australia, making its debut tonight right here in Perth.
Expect to be surprised, expect to be wowed.
52 performers from all over the world with brand new thrills and never-before-seen tricks.
You get to see pyrotechnics, you get to see BMX riders on the ice, you get to see an actual real car driving onto the ice.
And and more than 50 dazzling handmade costumes.
This is giving Agrabah, is it not? You know, jewels, glamour, glitz.
It'll feature performances of Disney favourites and brand new renditions of the classics.
We have Mary Poppins for the first time ever in a Disney on Ice show, which I know for me, that's nostalgic.
The show has come a long way since it first hit the ice in 1986. This is the 36th edition, and we're being told it's bigger and better than ever before.
Whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you have kids, whether you're looking for a fun date night, it truly is for everybody. It's going to be an amazing show.
Tickets still available to all 9 performances in Perth this weekend. Yvonne Ardley, 9 News.
Hear from Prince William tonight after sport, his touching conversation with a war veteran about his wife, Kate. And the terrifying moment, a giraffe snatches a toddler. But first, Paddy Sweeney is here with Sport. And Paddy, a young eagle is set to make his comeback.
Good to see you, Tomo. It's been more than a year in the making following a serious injury setback. Worth the wait, Cully gets a call-up after a waffle workout. The Demon rues the end of his run at Roland Garros. And Stoinis the star as the Aussies begin their World Cup campaign.
Incredibly fun, remarkably functional, and effortlessly stylish. Introducing the all-new Ford Puma. A compact SUV that really packs a punch. Looking good has never been this easy. Secure yours today. The all-new Ford Puma. Effortlessly stylish.
More than a year in the making, a young eagle will return to the lineup. Live to Erin Harwood and Erin Jai. Cully's comeback is complete.
Paddy, the 21-year-old, last played for West Coast 13 months ago when suffering an ACL injury. The midfielder rewarded for strong waffle form, averaging 26 touches and a goal in the past 3 weeks, replacing suspended young gun Harley Reid. Jake Waterman is back from a shoulder injury while mid-season draftee Jack Hutchinson debuts. As selection changes remain, Ruben Ginby's looking to build on his impressive second season against the Kangaroos.
A midfield that's had little consistency with availability. But for Ruben Ginby, the Eagles' constant changes have a silver lining.
I've been lucky enough to play every game for the start of this year. So I think, that's been really good for me to just to find a bit of form and clarity in my role.
The 19-year-old standing up in the absence of stars through injury and suspension.
So I think that does add a bit of, extra momentum behind me to hopefully lift a bit more for the team and have a better performance.
Ginby mixing his time between the wing and inside this season. His consistent performances on the back of adding 6 kilograms over summer.
As the game progresses, midfielders are just getting bigger, like north of 190 centimetres and 90 kilos kind of thing. So I think, to keep up with the big boys, you got to grow yourself, I guess.
Last year's top Eagles draftee enjoying less pressure this year, eyeing a potential matchup on Kangaroos midfield bull George Wardlaw.
I feel like I can now just settle in and feel like I can carry my weight on field now. There's none of that young first-year kind of memento over your head.
A refreshed Alistair Clarkson still searching for North Melbourne's first win of the year. Time off in the bye spent reflecting on his latest outburst.
I think it's nice and fitting that I just put myself in the box for the remainder of the year and just don't put myself at risk.
Erin Harwood, 9 News.
Collingwood star Bobby Hill has sent a scare through the Magpies camp after injuring his ankle at today's main session. Coach Craig McRae confident Hill's avoided any setback and will be fit to face the Demons on Monday.
Just as training was coming to a close, a group of Magpies were calling for help. Bobby Hill needing assistance, the forward unable to bear weight on his twisted ankle and hobbling from the ground.
I just spoke to Bobby, he's fine. He's just just tweaked his ankle a little bit, but we've got 4 days before our game and there'll be no concern there.
Will Hoskin-Elliott over a hamstring injury, hoping to spark a depleted Magpies attack into action against a Demons outfit on notice following a 92-point thumping.
We're expecting Melbourne's best. I think what we saw last week is an outlier. I was watching the game through the entirety and I'm going, wow, that's not Melbourne.
Saints forward Max King cleared to face the Suns on Saturday after jarring his knee last week, taking on twin brother Ben for just the 3rd time. Twins also facing off on Sunday as the Blues and Bombers reignite an old rivalry. Ben and Harry Mackay lining up for the first time since being drafted in 2015.
At different stages I'll see Ben on Harry, but largely it'll most likely depend on where on the ground how he sets up for the majority of it.
Carlton's Zach Williams kicking 8 goals from 3 matches, the forward experiment to become permanent.
Hard to take him away if he keeps doing what he's doing. He's very passionate and he's got a natural flair for it, for sure.
Orazio Fantasia will miss with a shoulder injury. Alexia Pesce, 9 News.
Alex de Minaur's run at the French Open has come to a grinding halt, beaten in the quarters by Alexander Zverev in straight sets. De Minaur had the chance to level the match, leading 4-love in a second-set tiebreak, only for the advantage to be blown away.
But this is what he does here, Sasha Zverev. He finds ways back to things. That's what he's done again.
De Minaur was aiming to become the first Aussie since Pat Rafter to reach the semis at Roland Garros. Australia's T20 World Cup campaign is off to a winning start against Oman. A stunning piece of fielding saw Glenn Maxwell dismissed for a golden duck.
Oh, what a grab! What a grab that is! Akim Ilias, the skipper, that is quite brilliant.
And didn't they like it? But half centuries to David Warner and Marcus Stoinis saw the Aussies set Oman 165 for victory. The Minnows falling 39 runs short. Mitchell Starc causing concern, leaving the field with a left calf complaint. State of Origin's new villain has apologised for last night's brutal act in Game 1. The Blues' Joseph Swalili was sent off after a sickening hit saw Queensland fullback Reece Walsh forced off with concussion.
Yeah, obviously a bit disappointed, letting my family, my state and especially my teammates down. I feel like that's probably the toughest thing about it, but yeah, it's got to move on from now.
Queensland went on to record a 38-10 win. Game 2 will be played in Melbourne on June 26. It's been a massive couple of months ahead for Australian basketball stars Dante Exum and Josh Green. Tomorrow they'll line up in Game 1 of the NBA Finals Series before setting their sights on Paris and Olympic gold.
In Boston's revered and feared TD Garden, Dante Exum and Josh Green are about to play the biggest series of their careers.
Where I come from in Australia, Castle Hill, it's like, you dream of stuff like this.
It's a long way from those early days, playing for his junior basketball team, the Penrith Panthers. Drafted by the Mavericks in 2020, this has been Green's breakout season. As Dallas stormed the Western Conference.
When we moved over to America, and I was about to move back to Australia to play Australian rules, but I'm glad I chose basketball.
He's now on a contract worth more than $60 million. For Dante Exum, this is a comeback after serious injuries and setbacks.
In the corner, 3 Exum.
Spending 2 years in NBA exile in the European League.
Looking at me and Josh and being here, it's possible. You just got to work hard.
The Boston Celtics are seeking NBA history, what would be a record-breaking 18th title. But the Mavericks are relishing being the underdogs.
Josh is great. Exum, his first year with us has been incredible, and they've been a big part of our success.
The Aussies will be key role players in their first ever NBA Finals, a career milestone before heading to Paris, where the Boomers are aiming for back-to-back medals.
We're both excited, and I think the Olympics is going to be a great opportunity for us to kind of pick up where we left off in last Olympics.
We're going for gold, man. Going for gold.
In Boston, Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
Good luck to both Josh and Dante. I think they're up against it against Boston, Tomo, but
yes,
hopefully at least we get a 7-game series. Go the distance.
And the Olympic Games is going to be fantastic.
It's going to be one to watch.
Paddy, thank you. Where to find Perth's cheapest fuel, that's next. And Prince William's touching conversation about Kate's cancer fight. Then the rain is settling in, Emma, a stormy night ahead.
Certainly is, Tomo, as that cold front moves through, and it's the first of many. I'll have all the details very soon.
Time now to take a look at Thursday. Finance and global interest rates have begun falling, while closer to home, the big banks are reaching record highs. Here's finance editor Chris Kohler.
Commonwealth Bank's share price has been one of the finance stories of the year. Today, it topped a new record high around $125 a share. That happened right on cue, because ABS data today also showed the average new mortgage size across Australia is now a thumping $675,000. And that's a record too. So today we saw clearly big loans mean big bank share prices. CBA helped the share market as a whole, the ASX gaining 52 points. The whole finance sector is now up 3% this week. And the Aussie dollar was back within reach of 67 US cents today. Finally, interest rates around the world are starting to come down. The Bank of Canada cut rates for the first time in 4 years last night. The European Central Bank is tipped to do the same tonight, and markets are pricing in 1 or 2 cuts in the US this year. Most major economists reckon Australia will be a little bit behind, 1 cut expected in November.
Thank you, Chris. Let's take a look at now at the price of unleaded petrol across Perth tomorrow. Now, the average will be $1.83.4 a litre, but you can find it cheaper in Montana Crescent in Alkimos, on Mandurah Road in Kwinana Beach and on Cumberland Road in Forestville. As storms lash Perth tonight, and with school holidays just 3 weeks away, Carl Langdon has a few perfect spots to escape to and catch some fish.
This is the time of the year to head north and enjoy the sunshine in places like Exmouth, Carnarvon, Broome and Kununurra. Check out some of the catches like this thumping coral trout taken home by Ava in Exmouth for dinner. Along the Ningaloo Reef, also in Exmouth, this painted cray fed Greg and his mates while camping out on a recent trip, while at Ningaloo Station, this wahoo had to feature on a perfect day. Out in the deep water, the catches were spectacular off Exmouth, with these 2 enormous 25-kilogram grey-banded cod, ruby snapper and pennant fish caught on Evolution charters. In the Kimberley mangroves, the action was thick and fast for Tom Lloyd and son, a fiddler ray, many little mangrove jacks and mud crabs all featured. At Point Sampson, Kaylee and Kira both nailed a nice red emperor. Off the Fremantle moles, the pink snapper have been turning up in good numbers, like this one caught by Jeff Carter, while this mulloway also turned up, taking a mullet bait around 1 a.m. one morning for David Venchulo. Please be careful along our coastline with these changing weather conditions. If you do catch a fish, send us a picture or video to 9 on Facebook, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Carl. A giraffe has grabbed a toddler in a shock move at a safari park. Here is the moment the giraffe snatches the little girl at a drive-through zoo in Texas. She was sitting in the tray of a ute with a bag of food for the animal.
Paisley was holding the bag like this, and the giraffe went to get the bag, not get her, but ended up getting her shirt too and picking her up.
Thankfully, her mum was close by to catch her. A lucky escape. And Prince William has shared a touching moment with a D-Day veteran, asking him about Princess Catherine's health.
I was going to ask you if your wife was getting any better.
Yes, she'd love to be here today.
Princess of Wales has put public duties on hold as she undergoes cancer treatment. A wild night on the way. Emma is back with the forecast next.
Switch on a Daikin Alira X split system with advanced streamer technology to remove more than 99% of harmful indoor air pollutants and surround yourself with cleaner air this summer. Daikin, perfecting the air.
Welcome back. That cold front is well and truly here, but those severe weather warnings have now been cancelled, with thunderstorms easing in the Greater Perth region and the southwest and Great Southern. Now, 11.5 degrees was our overnight low before climbing to a warmer top than expected of 25 at around 1:30 this afternoon. Right now, it is sitting at around 19 degrees. To the charts, that cold front is still sweeping through, though, as we speak, with as much as 30 millimetres set to be added to the gauges in the metro area tonight. Around the rest of the country tomorrow, Brisbane, sunshine 20, rain easing in Sydney and Melbourne, partly cloudy and 17 degrees. Back in the north of our state, Kununurra, sunny 25, Broome a top of 28, Karratha sunshine, and for Newman 22 degrees. Further south, Geraldton, possible heavy falls up to 30 millimetres set to fall there tomorrow. Bunbury, partly cloudy, Albany a shower or 2, and Esperance showers and 20 degrees. On the waters, wind southerly below 10 knots in the morning, then becoming east to northeasterly in the middle of the day. Seas decreasing to below half a metre and swell tending southwesterly 3 to 4 metres during the morning, then decreasing to 3 metres by the early evening. Around the suburbs tomorrow, Joondalup showers easing 21, Fremantle a shower or 2, and Rockingham a top of 20. So for Perth, 20 millimetres of rain has already fallen in the metro area since this afternoon. 12 degrees will be our low tonight though, then a shower or 2 and a top of 20 tomorrow. Looking ahead, a shower or 2 Saturday, 21 the top there as another cold front moves through. Sunday up to 15 millimetres is set to be added to the gauges, becoming windy 21. Showers increasing again for Monday, another top of 21. So Tomo, plenty of rain coming our way. Thankfully though, those severe weather warnings have now been downgraded, but still best to take care, especially on our roads this evening.
That's very good advice, Emma. Thank you. And that is 9 News for this Thursday, June 6th. Thanks for your company. Our current affair is next. Good night.